Welcome, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I have my good friend Rich with us from United Financial Freedom. He's going to talk to us about the Money Max account and how it can add to your existing financial plans to help you get out of debt, increase wealth, ultimately achieve financial freedom. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Rich. Thanks for spending some time with me today as we discuss the Money Max system.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, Denzel. It's really a privilege to be able to collaborate with you. I guess I could say I've been an admirer from afar for a while. I'd be remiss not to say how incredible it is to have, somebody in a younger generation really going back to grassroots about the importance of people being better financial stewards and understanding the importance of proper money management. And I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this collaboration. So thank you so much again. And one of the first things that stands out to me, especially as somebody that's been following your work for a while, I kind of call you the scientist. You're very deliberate, methodical, and analytical, and you really dig deep into these strategies that we talk about, whether it's unique banking related strategies or velocity banking, et cetera. And I think where there's a great synergistic collaboration here is that as you know, I started off in the financial industry for many years, and I'm an old dog in this space for 30 years, but I've also been a part of this technology for 17, 18 years now. And the one thing that I noticed, and you and I talked about this, I think one of our early conversations, Denzel, that, we're coming up to what, Thanksgiving soon here. And every single year, the top two New Year's resolutions are what?
Lose weight, make more money.
That's right. Fitness and finance, right? So it's usually lose weight, get in shape, get out of debt, and save money.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I mention that is because, and forgive this expression, but it came from my dad many, many years ago. And I was a pretty good kid, I think, but every time I kind of did something stupid, I would always tell my dad, well, but I didn't mean to do that, Dad, right? And he'd say, well, son, the road to hell is paved in good intentions. And I think a lot of us have the best of intentions to get in shape, to stick with our diet, to stick with our workout plan and or to save money, to budget, to get out of debt, and life gets in the way. And so I don't think that's so much about beating us up. About it is understanding the weak link in life, right? Because most of us aren't experts that spend all day every day thinking about finances, right? You're an exception, and I suppose I am too. But for most people, they're just trying to navigate through life. They have a job, they have family, they have unique struggles and challenges, and managing money is just an aspect, and oftentimes a small perceived aspect of people managing money. And so the thing I'm most excited about is that this kind of technology helps us to make the execution of strategies and concepts and things that you teach and coach on much more effective. I'll use this example, going back to the fitness and finance analogy and everything that happens January 1st. People don't plan to fail or don't fail. They don't plan to fail, as they say. They fail to plan, but they fail to follow through because execution is everything, right? Follow through is everything. And so we decided that if we could modernize the way that people manage their money, right, and actually create technology to give them real-time feedback on the possible impact of either decisions they just made or simply decisions that they're thinking about making, they could make much, much better decisions. And one of the things I appreciate probably most about what you do uniquely in your space, probably more than anybody else I know, is that you don't take anything for granted. You really, it's the old, you can't expect what you don't inspect, right? You take a really deep dive into the mechanics of what people need to do. And it's why it's a pleasure to work with people like you in this space. Where we come into play is that just like we call our technology financial GPS, right? Now, respectfully, Denzel, you're young enough where you've only had GPS your whole life, okay?
Yeah.
Us old dogs remember when my grandfather just had a compass on his dashboard, right? And then, of course, we had maps and MapQuest. But GPS allows us to take all of that information in terms of how we're trying to navigate to a given destination that we choose and makes it real time and allows us to understand the immediate impact of anything that changes. Now, think about the power of that financially. So if we're able to take a lot of the education that you're able to provide, a lot of the coaching and the training and the guidance, right, which is incredibly important, and we're able to help augment that to increase the likelihood that somebody's going to succeed by understanding the impact of what they've just done, or to be able to plan in the future, to have financial foresight. And that's really why we call the Money Max account financial GPS, because, well, life happens, as we say, in other ways, right? So just like GPS in navigation, and we both live in South Florida, right? And now we're in snowbird season where there's 10 times more cars on the road, right? And a destination takes 2 or 3 times longer to get to than we planned on.
Hmm.
And that's provided there's not a weather issue. That's provided there's not a railroad crossing, that there's not a traffic accident, there's not a detour, et cetera. But GPS recalculates. So what if we could create financial GPS that could ebb and flow with every changing circumstance in someone's life? Their income goes down, they get a new job, they get laid off, they get a bonus, they get a tax refund, right? They went from getting paid weekly to every other week. They have another kid, or the transmission breaks down, or their washer quits, right? Those are the number one impediments to people achieving financial success. So it's really not just about getting out of debt. It's about maximizing cash flow management, right? It's about canceling interest that you talk a lot about. And then it's about being able to eliminate debt so we can ultimately create wealth and financial security.
Right. And one of the most underrated things, especially for my audience, for you guys that are watching this channel, you're learning the strategies, we're taking it to the whiteboard, you're getting your numbers in line, you're doing all the right things, and we're planning. And some of you do execute very well through coaching and
Mm-hmm.
accountability and partnership. That's when people invest in themselves. I'd say those people automatically are in a separate category, all by themselves. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
a very, very small percentage of people that will watch this channel that will listen to what I'm saying, they'll observe, they will plan, and they will execute. They will take the action, right? But that is a very, 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 very small percentage of people that are that DIY style,
Right.
where a system like Money Max can take that viewer that enjoys the content and maybe 5 or 7 other YouTube channels, and different ideas and strategies are all kind of blowing off in their mind, and they're absorbing all this financial literacy. And then you plug in a financial GPS system. What you're doing is you're cutting the downtime of the learning curve, number one, and also the execution of
Mm-hmm.
whatever strategy it is that you're looking to do. The Money Max will take into account just your financial numbers, everything that you have going on, your interest rates, payments, and all
Mm-hmm.
that. It'll just factor it all in, and it'll produce a strategy, especially those who are in lots of debts and different kinds of debts. You don't know which ones to go
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
after. It will do that math for you. But even setting that aside, the most underrated thing that I don't hear a whole lot of people saying, even in the Money Max space, like United Financial,
Yeah.
is the downtime. For example, when someone gets a raise or a reduction in income, or they did pay something off and now they have this extra cash flow, typically
Right.
without a GPS, without a system like Money Max, which honestly there isn't anything out there that comes close to it.
Mm-mm.
You've got banking apps, you've got fintech programs out there, but it's not really taking in all these other strategies as to what to do with the money. It'll track it. It'll say, yeah, this is how
That's
much you
right.
spent on groceries. This is how much you spend here. Here are your percentages. This is your budget. But it's not actually creating like goals for you, milestones, checking the true cost of you getting that car or not getting that car, or
Great
you
point.
putting a down payment on a home, or you not putting a down payment on. And it really factors in a lot of different things here. So that downtime is huge, especially when even as a financial coach, when I work with clients, there is some downtime. There's that distance between, okay, I just paid this car off and I'm going to schedule a session. Now we're going to strategize. Then we're going to implement. And oh, by the way, Denzel, before we go to the next debt, I've got this birthday and this holiday and this Christmas thing coming up. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to pull some extra cash flow of what we just gained and apply it to over
Mm-hmm.
here. And All of that is
Good point.
downtime where if you had a GPS and you can just input likely what you need to spend birthday, holiday, Christmas, New Year's, you name it,
In
Thanksgiving,
advance. That's right.
in advance, it already knows this is coming up and it'll still know what to hit next on your debt elimination timeline,
Yeah.
your particular strategy. So
And I'll even
there's
interject
a lot
something.
there.
It's that most of the time, and you make the downtime, I really like that expression because, let's be honest, people don't make most of their financial decision during bankers' hours, right? They make expenditures during the course of their day if they're going to lunch or they're buying something, et cetera. But most of the time is later in that day or later that night, or sometimes at 10, 11 o'clock, where we're crunching the numbers on how are we going to be able to afford Christmas or things like that, right? It's not usually in the focus of their day to day when the kids are at school and at soccer practice and they're at their job, right? It's really that downtime. It's Sunday afternoon or it's at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I think this is where there's such a great synergy. There's gyms now, I think it's called Anytime Fitness, isn't it? Where it's open 24 hours a day, right? The whole unique thing is, like there's a gym right across from my house. Thank goodness, right? Because one of the keys to going to the gym is having it be conveniently located. I know that sounds simple, but let's face it, there's that time when we're a little tired and we don't feel like going 15, 20 minutes to the gym. So part of getting in shape is yes, coming to the point where we're willing to commit to it. And I find that the people that you're working with, they're recognizing, hey, there's got to be a better way. So one of the things that we know is important to being successful isn't just the intent to be successful, right? Again, that's where you have an advantage, clearly, right? So one of the things that I think is particularly the recipe of your success, telling people they need to make a change doesn't really do a lot. It doesn't matter if it's our parents, our children. We've got to come to the point where we're willing to make a fundamental change and improvement in our lives. And I find that a lot of the people you're working with, Denzel, and you're coaching are like, you know what? There's got to be a better way. I've got to do something different than I've done in the past. But a lot of times that's a little bit like sitting on our couch for 6 months and saying, okay, I got to get my lazy butt off the couch and join a gym, right? And a lot of people do that January 1st. The problem is by about January 17th or 20th or 24th, 2/3 of the people are no longer going to the gym. So motivation only lasts for a short period of time. But being able to track that we're gaining results is the ultimate motivator. So imagine now if somebody decided to join the gym and the gym was right across the street, conveniently located, and they got their best friend to become their workout partner to hold them accountable. So if they don't show up, they give them grief, right? And they get a pedometer to track their steps, and they actually have a calorie counter and a heart rate monitor, et cetera, right? And so all of these scenarios are going to increase the likelihood that they're going to go. But now, what if they also hired a personal trainer, somebody to actually hold them accountable and ensure that they follow through? That's really the element that we've introduced with using this technology. And you mentioned a moment ago that there are a lot of aggregators. There's a lot of budgeting tools. There's a lot of digital financial calculators or spreadsheets. But there's never been anything that's been created that actually provides financial foresight that tells us where we're going and how to adjust. And going back to GPS, one of the great things about GPS is it has no emotion. It has one goal. How do you get from point A to point B as quickly as possible? And you can customize it, right? Avoid toll roads, avoid highways, quickest route, shortest route. So we have the ability to determine where we want to go, to customize the route to get there. But GPS doesn't care who's driving. It doesn't care what vehicle you're in. It doesn't care where you want to go. It has no emotion. Get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. The Money Max account has one goal, no emotion, how to get you out of debt mathematically as quickly as humanly possible. And that's why the factorial math engines and all these algorithms and all this cool technology is incorporated helps people to do that, which helps hold them accountable and helps them follow through. And if we can track our success, Denzel, I know this is crazy, but it's like when you're on a diet and you jump on the scale every morning and you see that you lost a half a pound, you're more motivated to continue to move forward because you're seeing success. And so we're able to break down that success in bite-sized pieces where visually they
Right.
can see that month and year they'll be out of debt or how much interest they're going to save or pay changes. It really helps to reinforce the strategy and the coaching and the training that you provide, because it makes it real and it helps hold them accountable in those down off hours on Sunday afternoon and late on a Thursday night at 11 o'clock, et cetera. It really helps create that perfect augmentation with what you teach and train on.
Right, and there's recognition in the process of it. You've got a dashboard that is constantly looking at your progress, and you every time you
Yeah.
log in, you can see where you're at in a summarized way, which is pretty unique. And it's not like we're taking away the coaching aspect of it either.
No.
Money Max does come with a coaching system. There's humans behind this software as well that you can interact with, that you connect with, you can speak with, and get that additional human to human value add in addition
Right.
to automation. So all these things coming together. So an action
Which
step
you don't get very much with
you
technology, right?
don't.
Let's be honest. You're lucky
Correct.
to get a customer service rep. In our scenario, they can do a virtual chat, they can call a toll-free number, they can set up a Zoom coaching and training system. We provide coaching and training and support for
Yep.
life, but it's always augmenting our financial professional. Maybe it's a real estate investor or a mortgage professional or a financial planner advisor, someone like yourself that's licensed in insurance that teaches different sorts of, accelerated, velocity banking type strategies, or perhaps it's infinite banking. Our goal is to stay in our lane. Again, what vehicle they choose to use or the destination they choose is ubiquitous to us, right? It's all about how do we help augment and follow through to create success in that strategy. And you're lucky because you're younger, so you are very technology oriented. I'm always in awe that you teach me stuff about technology all the time, and you really see how much has changed just in the last 10, 15, 20 years in terms of how we navigate our daily lives using technology. So it made sense that we would finally create a financial solution to help the average person literally bank like a bank, but with the push of a button, and now augment so many of these great strategies and concepts and coaching principles that you teach.
Absolutely. So with that, we've got a few action steps that we want you to take. If you click the link below or in the comment section, that'll take you to a webinar where
Mm-hmm.
Rich and his team will educate more. You'll be able to see the Money Max in real time. We can get like a live demo of it, education, and then from there you'd be jumping on a phone call to actually run your own numbers. So that's pretty cool. It's like
Yeah,
before you buy, you can actually run your numbers and it can produce a result for you. It can show you what the potential of this product can do for you. And
that's
for
right.
those that, again, you're not coaching with anyone, even coaching
Mm-mm.
still is so foreign to the vast majority of people. I get it all the time, still to this day. They're like, so how can you help me? And I'm like, through coaching. And so, but when you say
Mm-hmm.
coaching, it sometimes I have to be careful because some people, I assume people know what coaching is when you think in sports. And it's
Right.
similar, right? But it's coaching for your life in a particular area regarding your personal finances. That in
Mm-hmm.
and of itself, still today, is still gaining value. A lot of people still haven't fully absorbed the value of coaching. And
True.
so, for those that again that are watching that don't have a coach, don't have accountability partner, not even a friend or a family member to help you on your finances, you can lock in and team up with a company that's dedicated to increasing your financial stewardship. Not everything's
Mm.
always about how do I make more money. It's really how do you keep and steward what you already do have so that you can be trusted with more, so that you can have the responsibility and accountability to have more. And the
I like
more
that.
you have, the better you'll steward. So that's another reason why I myself, those of you that are watching, I don't create a whole lot of making money videos. It's for me, it's a lot about stewardship, it's discipline, it's building the pillars, the foundation, the anchors
Yeah.
in your finances. And I know once I know I have a client that has these foundations built, that any opportunity that comes their way, we can actually make educated decisions on how to move forward, and they'll have the discipline to see that money making opportunity through. And I believe that the Money Max account can also help with that. It just simply adds value, doesn't take away from what you're already doing. It'll add
Really,
value, and
really, really well
it may
said.
even realign what you may have been doing that maybe wasn't even efficient that you thought was,
Mm.
right? So that's a big thing as well.
You know what sounds out to me as you say that is that, we talk a lot about, you know, why are banks the biggest buildings in the world, right? And financial institutions, right? And we joke about this a lot, as Christians, but it's the golden rule, but it's not the one we learn in church, right? It's he who has the gold makes the rules, right? Possession is 9/10. They have the money and they know what to do with it. And I think that's a big part of what we try to coach is that every dollar should have a job, right? And I think you talk a lot about this. It's either to cancel interest, pay off debt, or save and accumulate money. But growing up in Michigan in an area where there wasn't a lot of, money, I didn't know a lot of successful people. I think so often the industry is designed to only provide coaching and help and support for people who have a lot of money. But that's not 80% of the population. Who helps the rest of us, right? So it's all about saying, how do we make this kind of technology, this kind of support available to the average person, to the masses that need it most? If you've got millions of dollars, there's no shortage of people, right, Denzel, waiting in line to help you
Right.
know how to direct that money. But what about the average person that has only 100 or two, three, $400 a month available in monthly net discretionary income, right? That's most people trying to live week to week, paycheck to paycheck. And it makes it even more important, to your point, to be a better financial steward, to better maximize the use of cash flow. And that's probably one of the things we're most proud of is that it's not an invasive process. Our informational webinar is informative, but even when we set up our original consultation, there's no obligation, there's no cost. And if it won't work for somebody, we'll be the first ones to tell them that. But now they've got the ability to see what that really looks like. We don't need their account numbers. We don't need their social security number. We need the basic math behind their financial profile. And that's really all we need an initial call to see whether or not we think we could actually help them and to see what that long-term impact really works like. So we've actually got a video here too that we're going to attach that gives a little bit more explanation. And as you said, you'll provide a registration link for a free informational webinar. And that will give them a lot more context to exactly how this works, some visual representations of how the demo system operates specifically. And from there, they can schedule a no obligation appointment to see whether or not it could really be beneficial to them. And then they remain in your auspices because you're still ultimately the coach and the trainer that's providing that navigational support. And we do our part to help support them along the way using the technology. So it's just a really great partnership. And we're really privileged and thankful to have the opportunity to work with you.
Awesome. So for those of you watching, if you haven't already, definitely click the links below, do your due diligence, attend the webinar, attend a call, run your numbers, see if this is a good fit for you or not. And at the end of the day, we're all teaming up trying to help you get better with your finances, be a better steward, ultimately achieve financial independence, financial freedom, so you can do the things that you want to do cheerfully and abundantly. And with that, I will wish you all a wonderful day. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless you and
Yep.
talk soon. Bye now.